Hello everybody, this is Joey from the Chart Guys. I've been a trader and technical analyst for 7 years, got over 20,000 hours with intent into the game, and you may be noticing that I look a little different than I usually do. Got some feedback on the last video, some constructive criticism regarding my lack of professionality due to my appearance, and I'm going to take it to heart. So going to try something a little different. We'll spice it up. We'll get professional. We'll see how it goes. I've done some other stuff too. I hired an AV guy so I can do transitions like that. And we're gonna step it up here. So perfect timing. I gotta let the cat in real quick before we get started. Just kidding, he's not trying to get in. But let's talk some charts now. Let's talk some charts. The gag is up. What are we looking at? So Bitcoin, bulls are struggling to set a daily higher low. They technically set a daily higher low, but now with going to lower lows, we're going out to the 2-day time frame. Before we zoom in closer, we'll just set the scene knowing that the weekly 12 EMA is our key guide. Been saying it for months and months at this time. We've got a monthly stair step, we've got weekly 12 EMA, and as long as that is intact, bulls are in control. So the title, it's a little clickbaity, like bulls are struggling. They're struggling, but they're still up, within what, 15% of all-time highs after a beastly move. So it's all relative, and that's a general thing with trading. The time frame that you care about is what matters when you're saying something's strong, weak, and this and that. And you can be weak on the daily, but strong on the monthly, strong on the weekly, and really any combo within that. So to kind of take a step back and say, like, okay, so the broad market's been pretty strong after its daily oversold bounce, and Bitcoin's now kind of floating down. We'll revisit what we talked about the day of the top up here of just everybody's got to have a plan. If Bitcoin is to lose weekly 12 EMA, what are you doing? Are you hedging up your longs? Are you looking aggressive short? Are you just waiting to buy the dip? Daily oversold, not too far away at this point. You just got to make sure that you've got a plan. So zooming in here now, let's go to the 2-day. So we were watching the daily, and we knew that bulls wanted to hold the 50% retrace of this move up if they wanted to have favorable odds to confirm a daily uptrend. Wanted to do it on this day, on Thursday, but unable to get a 4-hour uptrend after the nice bounce. Got a break of the daily stair step on Sunday, but unable to get a 4-hour uptrend. So we're seeing that our lower lows are not seeing much follow through. So it still has me confident that we're looking for a 2-day higher low compared to 59.6, but burden of proof is on bulls for that. So if we zoom into the 4-hour, we can see nice bounce on Thursday, no 4-hour uptrend. Nice bounce on Sunday, bulls tried, no 4-hour uptrend. Here we have another nice bounce here. Can bulls get the 4-hour uptrend? Time will tell. So we got a little bit of a downward channel that we can be watching. As a guide, we have got 8-hour 12 EMA resistance we can be watching as a guide. And in general, when you're in tightening ranges, you need to make sure that your trading reflects that environment. So when we're doing this, lots of trading, lots of activity. When we're just doing this, got to lighten up your trading. And the thing is we're not even really seeing a ton of alts see a lot more volatility than Bitcoin. It's almost like with Bitcoin going sideways, interest is just kind of shriveling up. We see it in the stream analytics right now. We got 67 people in here. Back in here, we'd have 200 people in the stream. So that tells us two things. One, our trading needs to reflect that. And two, don't get caught with our pants down if volatility does come in. Don't get lackadaisical with your risk management just because everything's pretty tame right now. Because the markets have a way of lulling people to sleep and then bringing down the hammer. Whether it be to the upside or the downside, who knows. But that's what we're working with on Bitcoin here. Let's check out Bitcoin dominance. Actually, I haven't looked at this today. So just daily downtrend going to be our guide here still. And that is telling us that alts are gaining on Bitcoin a bit, but it's more so that Bitcoin is dropping more than alts alts are actually going up. It's pretty red across the space in general. So we know we're going to be looking for a weekly higher low, and bigger picture, I'm liking the 2-week uptrend, 2-week 12 EMA on dominance. And the big question will be, next time we lose that, is that like an alt season popping off where alts are going up more than Bitcoin? Or is that the whole space consolidating and Bitcoin pulling back more than the alts? So let's move on to ETH USD. So ETH, we know our weekly bounce is underway. We know that a lower high compared to 37.29 is the most likely scenario. And now we've got a daily rising wedge to be watching with these higher highs not seeing follow through. So we can kind of slop that on there. Look at something like that. Look at something like that. And if this were to break bear, that would be our weekly lower high getting set. And the big story, if you will, on ETH is that ETH BTC saw quite some decent follow through off of its daily tightening range, bull break, nice follow through. ETH bulls are back, right? No, they're not. They need to confirm a weekly uptrend on ETH BTC for something to change. We've seen nice moves, but no weekly uptrend. So right now we're rejecting from the weekly 12 EMA, and the question will be, can bulls hold the low and go back and break the high next time we actually consolidate on the weekly to give us the first weekly uptrend? Let's see, we had a dinker right here, and then we had a decent one right here. So this was a weekly uptrend, immediately no follow through, came back down, and everything since then has been nice moves off of the low, no uptrend. So we know bigger picture, we're in a key spot because we're battling this support. Is it going to be a yearly bull flag on ETH BTC and bring ETH back into the limelight? Or are we going to see deeper yearly consolidation where we're looking for a higher low compared to 1615, way down there? So step one would be a weekly uptrend if anything's going to change here on ETH BTC. And this is not to say that, it's a confirmed rejection from weekly 12 EMA at this point, because it is just daily consolidation. Bulls have already given back a lot, and it's been in a pretty impulsive fashion down. But ultimately, bears, if they want to increase the odds that a weekly rejection from 12 EMA is shaping up, they need to get down below the 0.5 retrace, which is 50.02 on ETH BTC. So looking back to ETH USD, we got bulls trying to get a 4-hour bounce underway. It has been a 4-hour stair step off the top. We've broken that at this point, but we're hitting the daily 12 EMA. So bull's going to need a daily hourly 12 EMA. We're going to need an hourly uptrend to confirm to see 4-hour bounce follow through. Then we'll be looking for a 4-hour lower high compared to 33.56. And if bulls want to hold daily support down here of 30.67, going to need to regain a 4-hour uptrend to get a daily bounce underway. And then the question would be, are we getting a daily lower high compared to that 33.56? Or are bulls going to see another round of higher highs? The thing with wedges is that it can kind of bring up a little bit of a predicament when you're playing them, because you say, all right, I'm going to short ETH USD, looking for this weekly lower high. Well, if you're waiting for the daily bounce, then do you put your stop over the high, hoping for like a head and shoulders type pattern? Or do you respect that in a wedge, you don't want to put your stop at a high because the characteristic of it is higher highs without follow through? So I tend to always plan for the higher highs without follow through. I may initiate a position early, but I make sure that I'm sized pretty much to handle it to the apex. That's because it can be, a little more difficult to manage your risk when you're kind of letting it go into no man's land. But just from observation, it seems like wedges that work out end up holding the apex. So that's generally what I'm running my risk off of there. Let's see, LTC is technically getting its weekly lower high set at 88.56. We've only broken support by 11 pennies at this point, and another kind of potential daily head and shoulders if bulls get a bounce underway from here, but not a lot going on. Not a lot going on as we're sideways. We know the weekly lower high is the most likely scenario, and decently weak bounce in the scheme of things. It's not yet to the 0.5 retrace. It's close, but I don't know if I have much of an edge saying whether high or low is most likely or not on this consolidation for LTC. I think I'd go maybe like 51.49 for a higher low being the most likely scenario, just due to the sheer percentage move that we had, 25% on the bounce. And LTC, BTC, still just weekly 12 EMA resistance. Nothing changes here unless that breaks. So let's go through some alts. So Pendle actually getting actively smoked as we talk here. We're testing the weekly 12 EMA. So aggressive bulls are looking at Pendle. It never looks good before the bottom. Might be news related or something. There's definitely a lot of volume, but I really don't care personally. I would be, looking at a stair step. We can probably set up a 2-minute stair step right here. Probably set up a 2-minute stair step right here. We still got a minute left in the candle, so it would technically be set up like that. But hopefully, if you're trying to play a stair step like this, you hope that you get decent RR on that candle that you're playing off of. You get the entry, you sell half, you get risk-free, and then if that ends up being a weekly higher low to keep the show on the road, that is, then you've got a good position. So you don't need to know that this is going to be the weekly higher low. I'm going to take scales down to 380 or something like that. It can be very difficult to open up risk that big, or then you have to have such a tiny position that it's just not really worth it. Or not that it's not worth it, but personally, I like to put more work into the labor of getting the trade off the ground, which means might take multiple attempts, but you can get more size on. And yeah, that's that. But also that, plays into my skill set. So what works for me may not be what works for you, but as stair steps are about as straightforward as it goes. If you have a reason to be taking a stair step, which in this case would be, we're smoked, we're testing the weekly 12 EMA, you've got to have a reason, or else you'll just be popping off stair steps at all sorts of stuff and you'll get chopped up. But if you have a reason, which I like to call it the task in the tool. Your task is you're looking to play a bounce off a weekly 12 EMA. The tool is, a 5-minute trend change that you're playing, an inverse head and shoulders, a falling wedge, a stair step, something along those lines. So my favorite tool is the stair step, and you can use it in conjunction with those other tools, but very straightforward. You could explain it to a baby, and the baby would probably understand. So to take a little step back here, we'll leave that on the chart for now, but this ended up being a really good example of the power of the ratio charts. So we were talking about this daily EQ and how it was a beaut, and we were talking, and shout out to Ryan V for bringing the Pendle BTC ratio onto the map, if you will. Pendle BTC. And we were talking last stream on Thursday about how this ratio chart is a good bit tighter than the USD pairing, and we may get a clue from the ratio chart for the USD pairing. And that clue ended up being fantastic, because when you're in a daily EQ and you're coming down near support, talking Pendle USD, you're typically not looking short there, you're looking long there. But we were able to hold off on any long goggles because the ratio chart broke support before the USD pairing. So really nice example. And if you didn't watch the last stream, you can go back and see the old me, the disheveled baseball hat wearing, t-shirt wearing me, talk about Pendle BTC and that clue that we got. So let's see, everyone else is just kind of ho-hum. Everybody's just drifting down, looking at Sol USD, just drifting down, nice bounce, but ultimately daily trend change, no follow through, and now just drifting it back down. So let's see what our guide here is. Another 8-hour 12 EMA guide. Another one with a nice bounce on the 4-hour, but no uptrend confirmed. It's a very similar story across the board. So is our weekly lower high set? Not yet, but 132.88 would get it done. 132.88 would get it done. And on that note, let's go through this list just kind of zoomed out. So again, if you want this watch list, you can go to the chartguys.com website, go to the crypto corner, and on the right side, there's a little doohickey that says Joey watch list. And if I update it, you should get the updates as well. And I like to shuffle things around, kind of categorize things with where they're at, what we're looking for, and all of that. So weekly lower high scout. Let's see how everybody's doing. It's set on RNDR. It is actually INJ never got a weekly bounce underway. It'll still be a scout. Same with SUI, SEI, relative strength here today. It is not set. WLD, it is set. ARKN, it is set. GMT, never got it off the ground. AVAX, it is very close to being, or it's technically set, but no follow through at this point. MATIC, not set yet. Weekly inside bar. ADA, not set yet. Weekly inside bar, but we're near support. And Theta, it is set. And for our weekly downtrend gang, AAVE, not set yet. AXS, not set yet, I don't think. Yeah, no, perfect double bottom on AXS at this point. Atom, it is set. Link, it is not set yet. Phil, we never got the weekly bounce underway. And OP holding on decent compared to some of these peers. TIA actually never got the weekly bounce underway. So, I mean, when we go through that list, these bounces are pretty dinky. They could be weekly bear flags, 3-day bear flags, whatever time frame you want to look at them on. You know, there were decent percentage moves off of the lows, but structurally didn't really gain a lot of ground. So let's look at our dexes. Hanging out up at the highs, almost identical chart there. Yeah, not set yet, except for 1 inch. That is now set. So all of these alts that we're looking for weekly lower highs, the question now that we've got some of them set is, are others going to follow? You know, some getting them set increases odds that others are going to follow. And then from there, it's going to be, are these weekly bear flags? Or can bulls regain weekly uptrends and try to shape up some monthly higher lows on the names that have seen monthly consolidation? So as always, our probabilities will shift based on what peers are doing. If we start to see names confirm weekly bear flags, then we'll have to look out for that increasing the odds that others are going to follow suit on that. So let's roll it back to the top. I don't know how BNB didn't make its way to the watch list. I have it on like my personal, just big watch list, but it never made it to the one for stream. So I've stuck it in the blue sky category. It's not in blue skies, but I mean, gosh dang, it's close. And it continues to have relative strength here. So we're up near resistance while everybody else is down near support. So going to be keeping eyes on BNB. And another shout out to the ratio charts. We were able to be on top of this shift on BNB in the Chart Guys chat room when we got over this clear resistance. And it's been all bulls since then. It's been all bulls since then. So let's look at BNB USD. So basically, we got bulls trying to defend daily EMAs at this point. And if bulls want to get out of this weekly equilibrium, just high, low, lower high, higher low, and resistance, key resistance is going to be 645 too. If bulls want to crack that from here, they need to hold these daily EMAs. If we lose these daily EMAs, that's a point towards continuing to tighten on up here. And who else has that? Pepe. Let's look at Pepe. So Pepe, same deal. We are not going to be shocked if we get a weekly lower high compared to 920. It is the most likely scenario, barring increasing bull volume. We do have increasing bull volume, so that tells us to lean more on our smaller nested time frames, which in this case is the daily. And it's that same deal where if bulls hold daily 12 EMA here, then they will be looking good to keep the show on the road, keep the weekly bounce going. If we lose these daily EMAs, then that's when a weekly lower high starts to shape up. But bulls have comfortably created room for a weekly higher low next round of consolidation regardless. Let's look at our other memers. So Doge never even got the weekly bounce underway. Daily EQ, trying to break bear. Trying to break bear. So Doge would be one of the first to take out that Saturday, April 13th low, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, SHIB is a good bit higher. WIF, good bit higher. Bonk, doing its own thing. hanging out strong at the highs. What's Bonk got going on? So we have a double top at 29.4062, 29.5930. These numbers, man. What do we got? So that's monthly consolidation, looking for a monthly high or low, bouncing from the 12 EMA. And if we were to reject from up here, we'd have an inverse head and shoulders on the weekly to be watching for bulls to regain control. Daily uptrend, daily 12 EMA support, and just like a 12-hour EQ. Low, high, higher, low, lower, high. So getting tight. Volatility going to come back into bonk here soon. Not that these moves within are lacking volatility just because it's such a volatile name. Crazy that that's 17%. You look at like what Bitcoin needs to do to see 17%, and this is why a lot of like active traders in the space are all about the alts, because I mean, come on, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. So I think that's all I'm really looking at. Let's hop into chat, see what y'all are looking at. All right, you guys liked the little skit at the beginning. That is good. All right, Sondina knows what's up. The content is important, and your presentation, your appearance, not so much. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Like, if you want to get free information from someone who's put in more time than 99.9% of people since 2018, then you're at the right spot. If you want to see someone wearing a suit looking fancy, you're not at the right spot, and I apologize. Or I don't apologize. Just trying to be professional. All right. Mr. Downstairs says, I'm looking for alts doing something different. BNB Corton near? Yeah, I don't know what that means, but yeah, talked about BNB there. Definitely doing something different. Who else is doing something different? Let's look at SUI or SEI doing something different here today. So ultimately, and we had relative strength on Thursday. I mean, the whole space ended up getting a little bit of a bounce on Thursday, but SEI was standing out Thursday. So just going to be viewing this as a daily uptrend, viewing this as one round of daily consolidation, not fretting out over that little wick pop there. But resistance going to be 68.52. Looking at the weekly, we're not going to lose track that we are looking for a weekly lower high still. In general, decently weak bounce. High percentage because it's a volatile name, but structurally decently weak still. And key support going to be 54.64. As long as that is support, the show goes on for the weekly bounce. If that is lost, then that's the weekly lower high shaping up. And then it'll be the same question with everybody else. Weekly bear flag, or can bulls regain a weekly uptrend? Try to shape up a monthly high or low. So relative strength here today. Let's go look back at that pendle. I forgot we were doing that. Yeah, so here you go. Any two minute stair steppers off the weekly 12 EMA, you're risk free. You're risk free, and that's all it takes to get risk free. And now if we are going to hold weekly 12 EMA, see a decent bounce from here, you got your tickets for the show. And you know, what's your risk? We had 1.76%. You can put half your account into that and be risking less than 1%. You can put your whole account and be risking less than 2%. I don't know that, you know, typically when I'm doing these stair steps, I wanna, or it's vital to leave yourself risk for multiple attempts. You need to be willing to do at least 2 attempts and no more than 3 attempts, because the last thing you want to do is be banging your head against the wall, take an attempt, and then you end up getting cumulative losses that end up being big. So no more than 3, but you need at least 2, because if you're trying to get like even just an hourly bounce off of a 2-minute or 1-minute stair step, you know, the odds are decently low in the scheme of things. The more you do it, the better you'll get at picking the ones that work, and the better you'll get with your small time frame navigation where you're getting risk free. And if I stop out risk free, to me that's not a strike. That saves my bullet and I can keep trying. But yeah, I can't advocate stair steps any more strongly. just because it's straightforward, it's defined risk, it allows you to get more size on, and it takes the discretion out of it. Like, you know, you wait to get triggered in. There's an anticipatory element because you need to know, like, what stair steps am I trying to take, but you don't need to be scaling in. The market triggers you in. When the stair step breaks, it tells you when it's go time. So it takes a lot of the burden off of yourself of like trying to be right, trying to not make dumb decisions, trying to pick the right spot. The market picks the spot for you. I mean, come on. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, but yeah, so let's see. We're crushed on everything. We're testing weekly 12 EMA. Let's see if we can get a good setup to play out live. I mean, at this point, it's already a big bounce, you know, talking about, you know, what Bitcoin needs to, you know, 5.47% and why the alts are just awesome to trade, you know, from the stair step. Now 6.33%. Let's go to Bitcoin on the daily. You know, we need, you know, 6.33% would be, you know, staying within this 2-day equilibrium, and that full move up to the high that'll probably, you know, take multiple days. And here you have it in 8 minutes. Pendle. All right, let's see. Let's look at Jasmy. I haven't looked at Jasmy in a minute. Jasmy is monthly inside bar, weekly tightening up on the 12 EMA. So if this tightening range breaks bearish, that's monthly consolidation underway. Be watching daily oversold conditions, looking for a monthly higher low. If it breaks bullish, the show goes on. So risk to reward favors bulls down here, as it always does when you're at the lower end of a tightening range. So low risk bottom fishes are aplenty in these daily tightening ranges that we have across much of the space. And that's the type of thing too. Like, do you need to know that it's going to eventually break bull? No, not at all. But what's your risk to establish a bottom fish position, get a little bit of a bounce, sell half, get break even, and risk free, and then let the market gods do as they please. So probably another 8-hour 12 EMA rider. Yep. And again, you'll see that a lot. Like, I don't use the 8-hour a lot, but odds increase that if the 8-hour is where you're seeing like clarity on one name, odds increase that you'll see that clarity on other names with that time frame as well. And it's actually kind of interesting right now that Bitcoin clarity is out to the 2-day, because that's also where I'm at on metals and oil right now. For whatever reason, the market, it just ebbs and flows together. So it's not too wild to fathom that, you know, these instruments across, you know, no fundamental relationship can end up having similar patterns and similar timeframes where clarity is there. All right, let's see. We got APU. Never heard of that one. Or are we done with Jasmy? Let me double check. Yeah, I mean, got to get over 8-hour 12 EMA. It's going to be very similar to Bitcoin. Got to get over 8-hour 12 EMA. Got to regain a 4-hour uptrend. And that will be a 2-day higher low shaping up in this sideways tightening range. And, you know, bulls will take sideways at the highs for now. But, you know, it's the same deal as Bitcoin. Bulls will take it after the big move to just go sideways. That's chill, but we've got to make sure that we respect that. If it breaks, that's a shift. That's monthly consolidation getting underway. All right. So what are we on? APU. Guess we'll do it on MEXC. Let me double check that though. Yeah, we'll do it on MEXC. And if anybody ever has like a specific exchange you want me to look at for any of these things, never hesitate to drop it in. Typically you want to be charting, even if you're trading on some like low volume crap exchange, you want to be charting the highest volume ticker out there for it. So we got a baby, and we are weekly stair stepping up, weekly inside bar, and another 2-day. There's a big old 2-day EQ, high, low, lower high. Bulls trying to shape up the higher low, technically have it done by a skosh here. And what do they need to do? I mean, with these new coins, there's not a ton to say, to be honest. because you don't have much history, so you kind of just got to work with the here and now. And right now, daily bounce is underway. Question will be, do we get a lower high compared to 73 to continue to tighten, or can bulls break 73 and go to test all-time highs at 89? And that's just pretty much that there structurally. 4-hour tightening range bull break. Got a 4-hour uptrend. It's definitely swooping, but 4-hour uptrend as the guide for the daily move. And we probably got something smaller to work with. A little 15-minute uptrend, big pop here right at the start of the stream. And we'll watch the 15-minute uptrend as the guide for the 4-hour bounce. If you lose the 15-minute uptrend, that'd be the first sign that the 4-hour consolidation is coming on in. Oh, before I forget about it, this is a big week for the stock market. We got the FOMC on Wednesday. It is currently 97.3% chance of no rate change. And then what would that be? 2.7% chance of a 25 BPS cut. So we haven't got the less likely scenario on that yet. And if you want to figure out how to get this stuff, you can just go to Google and type in FOMC probabilities. Second, then that pulls up the CME FedWatch tool. You can see what you've got going on probability-wise and make game plans accordingly based on that. But like I said, we haven't gotten a less likely scenario yet since COVID. So not anticipating any surprises, but always ready for them. Always got to be ready for them. So we've got that. We got Apple and Amazon earnings, a bunch of other earnings as well, but those are the big heavy hitters. So we'll see if any of that bleeds over into the crypto space, as it usually does. Omar, thank you. I appreciate it. Cryptomancer, thank you. Appreciate it. Everybody, thanks. All right, let's look at TAO. TAO. Black Dirt Breakdown. Does it have another exchange? Yes, and not Black Dirt Breakdown. We'll look at the MEXC one because it's got the history. So we are consolidating on the monthly. Be looking for a higher low compared to 192.84. See if we've hit our daily oversold back burner or not. We have not. So daily oversold would be an area of interest around 306 as things stand now. And this is, if bulls bounce from here, I'll be looking for a wedge. These lower lows are not really seeing follow through. But when you got a wedge, the burden of proof is still on bulls. This is bulls playing defense, but if you want to make money as a bull on a wedge, you got to see him get on offense. So liking this, look for it, and also probably going to use the 2-day with everything else. Anything below 530.24 going to be a 2-day lower high next bounce. If bulls were to bounce up right to that resistance, we would have an inverse head and shoulders potentially to be watching, and you'll see that a lot with wedges, where it's like a wedge that turns into an inverse head and shoulders, and that ends up being like how the breakout of the wedge ends up playing out from there. But if we're going to say that this is another lower low without follow through, bulls need to get through 438.88. That would be the 2-day bounce getting underway, and we'd go from there. So definitely looking for a monthly higher low, but burden of proof is on bulls to shape that up clearly. Burden of proof is on bulls clearly. All right, Mr. Jonathan Down, Core USDT. I haven't looked at this one. Do by bit. So we are looking for a monthly lower high compared to all-time high, up at 2196, and we are riding the weekly 12 EMA. So weekly lower high is now set here at 289, and bulls, due to the size of the bounce, will be able to, or have created room for a weekly higher low compared to 1098. So as far as, so we got a little dinky daily downtrend. So the weekly lower high is set, but bears are going to need to take out 183 if they're going to be confident in any follow through, because ultimately this is just a 2-day EQ. 2-day EQ at this point, and if we don't take out 183, then no follow through. So if the 2-day EQ breaks to the downside, then weekly lower high more confidently set. If it breaks to the upside, then we're just looking back up at the highs of this bounce, 436. Do we have anything before that? Not really. So very clear resistance, 289. It's a clean double top at this point. And I bet it's an 8-hour 12 EMA rider. Kind of. Not as clear as the other names, but I'm down to stick with the 8-hour on a lot of these charts right now, just because it's looking good. Because it's looking good. Let's see. Hi, Joey. AGIX seems to hold well against BTC and compared to other alts. Could this be a sign of strength for later phases? Let's see. In general, it is good for the space when you still have alts pushing to new highs. You still have alts that haven't consolidated on the monthly. And you know, while we've seen some capital leave the crypto space with monthly consolidation in alts, it is good to see names hold on. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. You know, when I guess what the point is when things get really bad, which it will again, you know, there will be days where there's nobody on these streams. Nobody wants to talk about crypto. Everybody's sad. And that's when there are no bull warriors left. There's nothing, no little oases for bulls to hide in. And that will happen again. Everybody's got to make sure you got a plan for that to happen again. But I wouldn't say this is holding on better than a lot of the other alts. It's a pretty similar deal. Monthly consolidation. We've confirmed a weekly downtrend, and bears are trying to get the weekly lower high set. So it was one of our better bouncers, and with retracing more than 50% of the move down, it increases the odds that bulls can reconfirm a weekly uptrend and get a monthly higher low set. But yeah, this is what's that look like? It kind of looks like the early stages of Link, if I'm not mistaken. Not quite. Not quite. But I've got a daily uptrend as the guide for the weekly bounce, and bears trying to confirm a little daily downtrend here to get that lower high set. 84 is support, and that's that. That is that. I'll still be looking for a 2-day higher low, like everything else, and lots of room for it to form. All right. Yeah, let's check out the miners. Nerd Minion, like that name. So looking at Riot, we got daily EQs on the miners, or daily tightening ranges, we'll call it. High, low, lower high, and support going to be 1088. So big time relative strength on Thursday, buying up the dip, but now we are weakening back down here with Bitcoin. So if the support is broken here at 1088, that wouldn't necessarily be a weekly lower high shaping up because it's still a weekly inside bar, but it would increase those odds. And we know that's the most likely scenario on this bounce, barring increasing bull volume. So again, when you have the increasing bull volume, that tells you to zoom in and lean on your smaller time frame trends. Tells you to lean on your smaller time frame trends. So that's Riot. Mara, same deal. Daily tightening range. Structurally, weaker bounce. Weaker bounce. We know we're looking for a weekly lower high. A bear break of this range would increase the odds that that is shaping on up. CLSK kind of doing its own thing. It's not got the daily EQ. It was our stronger bouncer off of the lows. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. We know structurally it's stronger than Mara and Riot for sure, but Riot might have outbounced it. Yeah, marginally. But yeah, CLSK, just daily stair step off of the top. We know a weekly lower high is the most likely scenario, and if bears take out 1707 this week, that would be it getting set. That would be it getting set here. So next time we bounce on the daily, bears have created room for a lower high compared to 2139, and that's that. I know it's not a miner, but Coin has earnings, I think today. Nope, not today. Who has earnings today? Monster or MicroStrategy? Always call it Monster. Good heavens. Yeah, MSTR has earnings today. Riot and Mara, or Riot and Coin have earnings coming up. So Wednesday, in just a few days, we've got Riot. So that kind of, it's tough to position in anything right ahead of earnings unless you're prepared for what that entails. Winter coins. Come on. Thursday. So yeah, earnings coming up in the space. Coins, same daily EQ, but much weaker. Much weaker on the daily. Bigger picture, it's stronger, holding on to its gains more. All right. Let's see. Got a question I forgot from the top. Jahanzi, my man. Where should we? What's an exit plan? Fixed profit, EMA, or something else? I like to take profit at EMAs personally. Some folks will do fixed profit because they're just here for a day maker, trying to plug away at those. And once you hit it, you take your profit and you end up being done. In general, we kind of don't want to trade our P&L. You want to trade the charts instead, but there's nothing wrong with just plugging away at the base hits with a fixed profit. But we can use Pendle for an example. So if I'm like playing this dump, I'm taking some profit at 2-minute 12 EMA, some at 5-minute 12 EMA, some at 15-minute. I just scale out as the bounce continues. So say you got in on the 2-minute stair step. I'd been chopping some at the 2-minute 12 EMA, and I'd have chopped some at the 5-minute 12 EMA, and I would have chopped some at the 15-minute 12 EMA. And that's what gets me really comfy in a position. So that's my style. Another style that you can use is just walking stops. You can say, all right, what do we want to use as an example here? Let's say you're short Pendle, and a reasonable profit-taking target would just be the weekly 12 EMA. That would be a spot where if you're looking for us to go down below it, you're ultimately looking for what I would say is the less likely scenario. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but say you're short, you don't want to just take profit at the weekly 12 EMA. You can walk your stop on the daily lower highs, and walking stops in crypto can be very, very powerful because everything goes further than people anticipate in both directions. So when you walk a stop, you commit to, I'm not going to nail the top or bottom on this. You will give back some profits when you get stopped out, but you also know that your odds of getting out early are greatly diminished because you're not trying to make the decision and relying on being right. You're letting the market trigger you. You're letting the market tell you when consolidation's over. So walking stops, it's easier said than done because psychologically it's tough to let your winners run. At least it is for me. But walking stops, very powerful. Very powerful. So those are some exit techniques, but everybody's going to be different with how they go about it. And what's important is that we figure out what works for ourselves. All right. A Dill, thank you. I appreciate it. If you didn't watch the very beginning of the stream, go back and watch that to learn that I don't. I appreciate the effort and the concern or whatever from the person that made that comment, but I do not fret about what people think about how I look. The reason I do this, the reason I haven't had any semblance of a normal life over the last 7 years is so that I can do whatever I want. So I'm not going to let a YouTube comment saying that my hat is unprofessional change anything about what I do. I'm just dressed up for the gag here today. Just dressed up for the gag. All right, let's look at Solana. I think we looked at Sol, did we? Yeah, so Sol has lost weekly 12 EMA for the first time in many months at this point. That increases odds that monthly consolidation is going to shape up from here, but it's on bears to confirm a weekly downtrend. Our weekly lower high is not set. Bears got to take out 132.88 to get it done, and still going to be watching that 2-day time frame, same as everybody else. So bulls hope that they can just tighten on up and then eventually get a bull break. Bears hope that we come back down and confirm a weekly downtrend and get monthly consolidation underway officially. So 8 hour, 12 EMA, same guide as everybody else at this point. All right. Another one for Anonymous. Is there a lack of follow through from bears? There definitely is, which is why we've got this channel here on it. So this tells us that bulls are playing defense. You know, they're snapping up dips. If bears were, you know, running wild here, they would flush down through support and just keep steady downtrends. And like basically, when you're looking for or evaluating, is there follow through or not? You know, when you're in a downtrend, you're going to see bounces along the way. But when you go to lower lows, you want to reject previous support as resistance and then continue down. Like that's a strong downtrend. You're rejecting that on the way down. A lack of follow through is when you are coming down and then you bounce back up into that range. And then you come on down, you bounce back up into that range, and this is not acting as resistance on the way back up. So we can look at Bitcoin right now and see that that's what we've got going on precisely. So you break support and you're right back into range. You break support, you're right back into the range. That's bulls playing defense. You got to get on offense if you want to profit off of it. And to get on offense from here, bulls need a 4-hour uptrend and to get over 8-hour 12 EMA. Let's see. I believe that's all we've got here for today. We got one more for Jonathan Down, my favorite people. So looking at ton USDT, ton coin. So we are blue sky bull, decent pullback off of all-time highs. Certainly looking for a weekly higher low. If the weekly 12 EMA acts as support, that consolidation will be healthy. How volatile are we? Not too volatile. 33% off of the top. And we have a daily downtrend as our guide for weekly consolidation. Bulls like that pop in this flush wick. Didn't see a lot of follow through, but again, playing some defense. Got to get on offense. So stick with the daily downtrend here. Daily lower high resistance, 559. Got to get up and over that as step one to shaping up a weekly higher low. And that is officially that. If you haven't hit the like button, please, or don't. You can do whatever you want. If you aren't subscribed, you should consider subscribing. Got a lot of good free information from people without lives that are obsessed with this stuff. So check it out. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. And yeah, that's that. We'll see if Bitcoin's bulls can get this 2-day higher low shaped up. We'll see if they can continue to hold weekly 12 EMA. And as long as they do, the show goes on. Don't get caught with your pants down. If this range breaks, you know, upside or downside, it can go either way. We know it won't be shocking to see monthly consolidation given that everything else got it underway. But the burden of proof is on bears completely for that. Be on the lookout for a weekly higher low on Bitcoin dominance. I'm gonna let the weekly trend be the guide, or daily downtrend be the guide there. And that's all I've got. Thank you all for tuning in, spending some of your afternoon with me, and I will see you probably Thursday. Probably Thursday for the next stream, unless there's anything super juicy before then. And if you're not, follow me on Twitter. I got the Twitter now, and I'm kind of enjoying it. I didn't know if I would or not, but yeah. So JungleFunk_ is my Twitter. Kind of get a little bit of unfiltered funk over there. Farewell. Hope everyone fares well, and I'll see you next time.